Hello ladies and gentlemen, Azuka here. I'm bringing to you another video for Conqueror's Blade published by Porus Interactive and my games developed by Booming Tech. We've got the news update, well, the update log for March 28th coming, and it's got a couple of interesting things. It's the first time we've ever kind of really seen a mass veterancy node change, or it's just like this is very interesting that like this is something that happened. And I mean, like, it's not like tweaking the numbers, like complete rework on, well, not complete rework, but like complete replacement of existing nodes. We saw kind of like extensions. The Rattan Marksman, for instance, had an extension, added 2 extra nodes because they got 2 levels. So this is fairly interesting. Anyway, obviously we have the regular maintenance going from 12:30 to 3:30 UTC +8. Which will be Beijing time on March 28th. So you expect your regular delay of 3 hours. You'll get 8,000 bronze, 300 honor, 15 unit medals and compensation for any inconveniences. Again, maybe people actually play around that time. I think there'll be less people right now. But anyway, um, another interesting thing is that the scheduled maintenance for next week will be moved to the 3rd. So instead of the 4th, it'll be the 3rd. So next week, Wednesday, we'll have a the maintenance. So that's interesting, wondering what's going to happen there. Anyway, first thing we have is event. Want to try out a hug from the Macho Man? Time limited event, Hammer Brawl now on. So the entrance is so how to enter this is battle, event, Hammer Brawl. Event info, it's going to be played on Navy Shipyard, so I believe this is kind of just like the docks. Well, if I'm imagining the correct map, it'll be like the docks. I don't imagine that this will be a new thing, but it does sound like it's going to be everyone's going to be playing Mole, which will be interesting, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe people don't like seeing Mole so much. So victory condition points are awarded for each enemy character killed, fallen. The first side to reach 60 points wins. Point calculation causing an enemy character to fall and die. Points awarded equals enemy character's kill strike +1. If the enemy falls on their own, our team gains point, but no character gets the kill record. That makes sense. Kill strike mechanism. Kill strike increased stamina recovery rate when the kill strike reaches 1, 2, 3 people. Stamina recovery rate is increased by 10, 15, and 20% respectively. The limit of stamina, a bonus stamina recovery rate is set to 20%. The rewards. Participate one in Hammer Brawl. Uncommon Scrolls of Mastery times 10. Kill 20 players in Hammer Brawl. Vault Keys times 5. Achieve 2 victories in the Hammer Brawl Treaty times 1. The time goes from March 28th after maintenance to April 3rd. So we only got about a week. Interesting that they have a very short event, but then again, it's not a very interesting event. So obviously you go to the event page in game in order to see this. Not sure if it's going to be open up the entire time, maybe after 12. We'll have to see. Um, New system optimization adjustment. Newcomer update. The campaign of Sparrow Pass has been optimized. Not entirely sure what this is. I haven't created a new character and I haven't been able to be bothered to kind of level up a little bit on the new character. So, for all those of you that actually have experienced the new character, or those of you thinking of making a new character, uh, do kind of explain what this is. Probably it would be related to um, kind of like a battle pass system where it's just like newcomers have access to this battle pass thing and they get a bunch of rewards by completing basic kind of challenges, those kind of things, I'm guessing, or just gain rewards just by getting experience and stuff. No idea. Improve the performance of certain aspects in the early stages of the newcomers. So again, this is very vague, so we have no idea what this actually changes. Now, very interesting things that are pretty much going to be I mean, we'll have to see its overall effect. This will be quite muted, considering that it only affects a lot of lower level or lower tier units. But first thing of all is basically a bug fix and a buff to the tier 3 feathered crossbowmen. So fix the issue where sudden storms could not be used on terrain with height difference, added a mechanic to sudden storm, reduced its cooldown time upon killing enemies. Now that could be fairly deadly, but also have to keep in mind that Sudden Storm has a bonus damage increase, but I think the total increase amount doesn't actually equate to the damage loss from kind of the reduction in fire rate. But because they're shot in volleys, it could mean that it's stronger. It's hard to explain, but um, you lose damage because the fire rate is reduced when you're in Sudden Storm. But Sudden Storm has a damage increase, and it definitely has a penetration increase when you activate it, because it has a doctrine that does it anyway. So, also, the defensive part of it is just crazy strong. So, this reduces its cooldown upon killing enemies, depending on how fast that cooldown can be. It's a 25-ish second cooldown, and these guys can be very strong. For the 5 second duration of Sudden Storm, they are virtually the best tier 3. If they could keep that perpetually, probably unstoppable. But that is the thing. There's still an archer unit. There's still lacking in total damage output. It's only the combination of the massive health increase going from 4,000 to essentially what is 10,000. And this is basically a heal, a 6,000 health heal. Not to mention, just generally, our damage output is fairly decent. Almost not to the extent that they compete against any of the other tier 3s, but they will easily outperform archers in a one-on-one competition, but they won't out-damage archers if you were to shoot at conventional things. Like, let's be realistic here as well. If I was to shoot at halberdiers with prefecture archers with arrow rain, I would decimate that halberdier way faster than I could with Sudden Storm from these guys. It's just a practical it's just a practical aspect of the unit that is lacking, a better word. Just the DPS difference is still there. Crossbow units are hampered because they are not allowed to have too high a DPS, because when you activate the double shot doctrine, they go out of control. So they surprisingly, I mean, like, I haven't tested this on live server, but Sudden Storm can't be used with the double shot doctrine as of yet. I'm not sure if that was supposed to be changed or not, but the double shot doctrine does seem to be not working correctly as what they specified in the PTR at the time. So I'm not sure if you guys are having experienced that. So you definitely have this kind of double shot being muted because it's not being used, can't be used during its most strongest state. But at the same time, it's still doubling the damage output for when they're not in Sudden Storm. So people are still can get that value out of them. And I think when you do activate the double shot, they're kind of nearing some of the archer in terms of damage output. I haven't really pushed or tested the total. I haven't calculated the total damage output from these guys, but from the looks of it, they would be still in the lower tiers of the tier 3 range, but they are much better than something like Demez Arbalist, and probably closer to domestic crossbowmen in terms of total damage output. This would still put them very low, though, when we're considering that like tier 3 ranged units are crazy, crazy amounts of damage. But that's only because prefecture archers are just bloody, bloody insane. I mean, there are more archers that are like more insane. I mean, rattan marksman, very insane. I know that thing's probably like going insane right now for the tier 3 lock. Incendiary archers are always a surprise pick. They can do very well in higher tiers because, for those of you who don't understand or don't realize that, for some reason, when you activate incendiary arrows, they're stupid. They get a stupid amount of armor penetration, and I mean like not a small amount. Like if I was hitting for around about 1200, they'd all suddenly would shoot up to like 1500, 1800 damage against like tier 4. Like that's like a 25% damage increase. That doesn't even include the fire damage, even though most tier 4 units would have fireproof armor, which would produce somewhat like 10 or 20% fire damage. But that's not even that. I'm more than make up with it with just the raw damage anyway. So it's just like wow. Anyway, mass changes to the veterancy, which I love to see. This is what everyone's been asking for. This is what everyone wants. But some of the changes are a little bit strange. Not really for the first couple. Again, we have serfs. The nodes of decreased unit loss in the world unit supply cost change to increase gathering rate, gathering amount. That's fine. Again, serfs just increase the gathering amount, makes them incredibly more efficient. But then again, who does farming? Tenant farmers, the node of decreased unit losses in the open world, um, unit supply cost change to increase field battle damage and increase gathering amount. Like, increased gathering amount kind of makes sense, but serfs are still better. But the increased battlefield damage? Really? Field battle damage? Tenant farmers? My goodness. Woodcutters, the node to decrease uh, unit loss in open world in the world. Unit resupply cost change to increase siege damage and increase gathering rate. Like, this one's a nice one. Like, again, field battle damage. No one plays field battle. Increase siege battle damage. Excellent. That seems more logical. That seems better. But it does look like they kind of have a theme going, but I don't like it. I just wish that they just do something better for the veterancy. These are really weak units, so even if you just slap on something silly like 100 extra damage, these guys won't change shit in terms of like warband setups for like bunch of tier 5s. Village Watchman does the same thing, decrease unit losses in world, unit scores, increases damage, increase field battle damage. This one's just, I don't understand this one. Like, this one's just another useless node, reduce food consumption. I get it. They want to try to make it important for open world, but it's just not. It's just not important. People just build just a shit ton of field camps and they just grab food. And again, we're not bringing along village watchmen in order to fill out. If we have tier 1 units out in, even in tier 3, tier 1 units just trash. They just get instantly wiped because every single unit is like 5 times stronger than them. If not 10 times stronger than them, because they're just like, their cost would be way higher, first of all. And if they can't beat up a bunch of village watchmen, then they'll be trash. Maybe some tier 2s would struggle against village watchmen, but even tier 2s like are at least twice as strong. Sword Militia, decreased unit loss in the world. Unit resupply has been changed to increase field damage. So this one doesn't make sense as well because it's just like it kind of breaks the theme. I thought Sword Militia would get increased siege damage, but it's in field damage again, and reduce food consumption. So it replaces these two nodes and give it these two nodes, and it's just really silly. I like that they're changing it. I just think it's really silly that they're changing it to one redundant one to another redundant one. I don't believe that anyone wants reduced food consumption because reduced food consumption is not even a factor when people choose units. They just choose the strongest. They worry about food later. Demez Pikeman. The node of decreased unit losses and unit resupply costs changed to increase field battle damage, and reduce food consumption. Now this one's a nice one because I actually like Demez Pikeman, and the increased field battle damage makes sense. They're pikemen. They're supposed to be on the field battle, supposed to counter cav. Again, reduce food damage? No. And the main reason I do like Demez Pikemen is because they have a special unit trait, which every 3 strikes stuns cavalry. That's really cool. Like, that's really cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Medaus is supposed to stun cavalry anyway, but Demez Pikemen, really low tier unit. I used to like before some of the changes to the cavalry, when Demez Pikemen got this, it was scary for cavalry to be around Demez Pikemen. I remember stopping cataphracts with them. I remember stopping something as silly as a winged Assar. You get you get you get some really nice formations where like because the circle, like I don't use line because I don't go to the line one, but like the circle one, because of how big it is, depending on where you set it up, around corners are particularly spectacular. And obviously, if the cavalry just goes straight for your center, you'll just get blown through. But it is really cool. Was really cool when I was using Demez Pikeman, and it's just like it was stopping cavalry that you wouldn't expect, because I think one of the ones that was really impressive was Tundra Humans at the time was still a very big thing, coming in and out of the meta, because like people just really wanted to use a really easy to use cavalry. So that one, you set up a Demez Pikeman, like you'd pin down the Tundra Humans. They wouldn't actually just trash you unless they charge through your center, then you're screwed. But it was fun. It was good. I think we need more kind of units that act like Demez Pikemen that really stopped cavalry in its track. Medals don't feel like they do that, but also Demez Pikeman is a 40-man unit, so it's huge. But regardless, um, everyone knows that pikeman is useless against cavalry, and it will continue to be useless so long as cavalry continue to be more unstoppable, faster, and unkillable. They do way more damage, take way more damage, and they're 11 times faster. I say 11 times faster. Even if you're around about 10% faster than your enemy, you feel that difference, and it only just mounts up higher and higher and higher and higher. When an enemy has an edge, it almost feels insurmountable. Even a 10% edge, it almost feels insurmountable. But we got cases where it's 2, 3, 4 times the advantage. You're not gonna win. Regardless, just continuing on, we got Javelin Militia replaces the decreased unit loss in the world, unit resupply for field battle damage, reduced field consumption. Pike Militia changes the node for decreased unit losses in open world and unit resupply costs into increased field damage and reduce food consumption. Demez Archers changes the decreased unit losses in world and unit resupply costs to increase siege damage and increase ammo. Now this is a very interesting thing, because a lot of the infantry ones, they kind of replace one thing and added a redundant thing. But it's always interesting to see which units they are going for the increased siege damage, because siege battle is, again, kind of the mainstay, kind of the go-to game mode that everyone goes to. Field battles, no. It takes around about 10 minutes to get a queue, and even if you get a queue, I think like half, if not 70% of the people are bots. Or even if you do get a majority player, majority player centric like majority player match, you would just end up in a cav fest. Everyone's just running around with cav and slapping infantry like they're nothing. And it's a really sad reality, because cavalry is so cheap. Cavalry is so cheap to field that infantry is just completely washed. in comparison, like cavalry at the same level should be half. I mean, if you kept the power, they should be half size. They should be half sized. But that's never going to happen. They're going to keep cavalry strong. They're going to keep cavalry just a billion times more powerful than infantry, and even just the counter cav infantry are barely going to be able to hold on because they love their cavalry, and no one's going to use cavalry if it doesn't just run people over because people are just so used to cavalry just being complete team wiping like go-to ability. I say ability, but like if a cavalry doesn't wipe out the enemy team with one ability, it just doesn't feel powerful enough. And I'm pretty sure everyone can agree that just how it feels. I've seen cavalry just wipe out hundreds of units and it doesn't even break a sweat. And I'm just sad at how easy it looks. When I take a look at my history and like using infantry, I struggle I struggle against one enemy, only to come out barely half health, only to fight against another enemy and barely come out alive with just my hero. I remember facing off against Iron Reapers and even some Expedition Knights with my Royal Janissaries, Silidars, and I took two fights back to back. It was hard, it was difficult, but it was fun. It was fun. I won. I killed I killed the hero, or the hero fucked off, and yeah. Anyway, back to the list of changes. ICAP Aquabaz, the node of decreased unit losses and world unit resupply costs changed to increase ammo. Again, increased ammo is an interesting one for ICAP Aquabaz because, like, in ICAP Aquabaz among the tier 2s is actually the strongest. Um, you can kind of say that the Iron Cap Archers with Arrow Rain is the strongest, but I'm not sure about that. In terms of just like penetration ability, like the Iron Cap Aquazia is just raw stats are just so high that they're just more meaningful. And if you were just to choose a tier two ranged unit, it would always be Iron Cap Aquazias. Like you would not choose anyone else because it's just fundamentally just worthless to bring anyone else because you bring Iron Cap Archers, but they deal their armor penetration is actually so low that rather 40 or 50% of their damage is reduced. Iron Cap Aquawizzers have like 2700 penetration, and they hit as hard as like 22, 25, around about there. They're still in deal. They're still they'll deal a ton of damage versus like Iron Cap Archers who will do like six, maybe five against like some of the tougher tier some of the tougher tier threes. And yeah, even if you get the special arrow rain, which again, like prefecture archers and iron cap archers both have special arrow rain, which doesn't decrease their piercing damage when you use it. They deal 100% damage during arrow rain, which gives them tracking or a special kind of targeting thing. And basically, I think it is double fire rate. I think I did a rough calculation of how fast the ammo consumption is for Arrow Rain. I think it is roughly around about, roughly around about 100%. But it's compounded. I mean, sorry, it's additive. It's not compounded against natural fire rate. So you got this issue where archers have tons of fire rate increases, but when you activate arrow rain, it increases it by another 100%, but it's not like doubling your fire rate. It's actually just adding an extra 100% fire rate. So it just kind of ends up being some kind of like, oh, we're at 136, now we're at 236. So the increase is actually much more muted than it realistically is, which is again another factor that's holding back archers that are inbuilt kind of thing versus the absolute insanity, which is double shot from crossbows, which for the life of me is a near 100% damage increase. There is like no downsides to double shot. There is like nearly zero. There's nearly like zero issues with calculating out double shot. The only issue is the animation itself, which is like fraction of a second. It's just pew 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 pew, and then it calculates how to reload thing. But it's just like, yeah. I hope you guys understand what I mean, but like, I just want to stress how OP double shot is versus Arrow Rain, which essentially just kind of is a very small increase versus double shot, which is like doubling your damage, essentially, for crossbows. Arrow Rain is just like the closest equivalent that archers have, and it's just not even close in terms of total damage increase into crossbows. So whether they fix that, I don't know, but I really wish that they just decide to delete double shot, because if they delete double shot, they wouldn't have to worry about crossbows being going out of controls and actually give them the correct damage output, because unless you're using double shot, you shouldn't use crossbow units. It is just a fact. Even Pavis being buffed almost 3 times. Again, the last time they got buffed, it was kind of like a rearrangement. It wasn't even actually a buff. Um, the one before that one was with the 25% increase of like damage. I mean, fire rate increase. Yeah, that was a buff. That was a big buff. Or was it the same one? I don't remember. But yeah, it just comes down to the developers just really just getting hamstringed by a lot of these things just not working together and just not structured well. And again, these kinds of things, these kinds of changes as well will have a kind of effect. One of the more interesting ones is again like Corteliers. We're getting two very powerful nodes that could again send Corteliers into meta again. We saw Ironcap swordsmen get a new skill that sent them into meta. Increasing Cortelier's charge damage and increasing their health could also be seen, but it replaces 2 nodes in the lower line. I don't think anyone uses the lower line, but this one's interesting for me because um I use Corteliers with my Chevaliers. So stronger Corteliers sounds great to me. Ironcap swordsmen, I mean Ironcap scouts. Sorry, if I said swordsmen earlier on, I meant scouts. Obviously they didn't want to buff it anymore, so the decreased unit losses in world unit resupply cost changed from reduced food consumption. And I like this one for the Salemshid Cavalry, the note of decreased unit losses in the world unit resupply cost changed to increased movement speed. It means it replaces 2 of these nodes for increased movement speed, and most increased movement speed are 5% or 3%. Salemshed Cavalry are going to be fast. Going to be faster. They're already at like 10.3, so it'd be like almost 11. I'm not sure how fast cavalry can be before they become basically unwieldy, because you cannot ride with heavy prefecture cavalry, and they have like a base of 12, and they can be as fast as like 15. They're insanely fast and almost unwieldy. Sad, but it's just a fact. You can't have units be so fast, this fast, and expect it to go well. The user is just incapable of using them properly. There's special situations or circumstances, like someone controlling them from on top of the wall. It means you're not fighting with your units. One of the most important things that I think is part of Conqueror's Blade. You fight with your unit. You don't fight. Well, you fight by yourself. Sometimes you send in your unit to fight by themselves, but it's just I love the dynamic of fighting both with your hero and your unit. You don't want to ever be away from your unit. You don't ever want to be in a situation where you're just by yourself. But heroes are so strong, they can be by themselves. Units, you throw in your units, you just play your heroes and just you divide it like that. But I like the dynamic of using your hero and using your unit together. I just wish there was more of that because I mean I played longsword for the longest time during the earlier games and it was more enjoyable back then. I know I'm rambling on. There is also another part about like the new Khan of Heaven server that's going to open up. So they do explain more for more kind of how they want those servers to work. And I do think onboarding for newcomers is really good this way, but because of low intake, I think it's going to really struggle to kick off. Though the controlled environment probably gave them good retention numbers, and they probably will keep at it because this is a good game. At its heart, it is a good game. People will have fun. But when people start playing the meta and all they do is play meta, people stop having fun because they just want to be the best. And when you want to be the best, you're an asshole. Just a fact. You become blinded by wanting to win so much instead of living the fantasy of the game. But maybe that's how you have fun. Again, how you have fun and what the way you have fun, I'm not going to try to convince you otherwise. It's just how I see it. Meta is always going to kill the game because people don't like playing the same game over and over again. People want change, people want variety. But if I see the same shit over and over again and I keep getting killed by the same thing over and over again, I would just get sick of it. I don't want to get killed by another Lancelot right now. I don't want to get killed by another uh, stu- um, stupid cavalry unit, be it Winged Hussars, Yanyud Owls, or even Ironcap Swordsmen. I mean, even Ironcap Scouts. Ironcap Scouts are just wiping the floor with me right now, and I'm using just like basic infantry units. Like I lost half of my Lancelot to Ironcap Scouts recently, and I was just like, well, whoop-de-doo. Even in free battle, Ironcap Scouts comes out. That's how strong they are. That's how strong they still are. But then it's free battle. The leadership cost is like nothing. So again, I'm surprised that people bring tier twos out in free battle, which you can bring all of the strongest units. But it also just goes to show that cavalry is so goddamn powerful that even tier five infantry just has no shot at beating up just even low level cavalry. Anyway, Vanguard archers increase, replacing the decreased unit loss in the world and uh, unit resupply cost for increased ammo, increased health. I do really wish that they fix the Vanguard Archers kind of fire arc. They've got a really stupid fire arc where they shoot like basically almost vertically by the time enemies are around about 60 meters away. Uh, Like it is so stupid how vertical they get considering that um you can easily shoot 100 meters with probably like 30 or 40-pound bows and you're shooting and you're not even shooting like 30 degrees, you're just slightly up, not even slightly up. um I mean, yeah, slightly up. I'm like these guys are shooting 60, 70 degrees. It's stupid. It's stupid. So yeah. I do think they need to fix the trajectory of projectiles for archers in particular, and I do think they need to fix kind of the speed of projectiles for ranged units. I understand that like muskets were really fast and really powerful, but that reload speed is godly. That reload speed is just untenable in kind of like the reality or the simulation of this game. There's no way anyone can compete, any of the other ranged units compete with that unless they're hitting just as hard. And not to mention like fast projectiles just makes it easier to hit people. I mean, how many times have you ran around archers and they haven't been able to hit you? And again, they made it so that tracking is a little bit slower. They shoot where you are instead of where you're going. So again, they used to be able to shoot where you're going, and it was almost impossible to dodge. This was a problem with Pavis, and people were just not even able to get near them. And even if they did, they just get punched by an invisible shield bash. But yeah, that's past stuff. Incendiary Archers, the node of decreased unit losses in the world and unit resupply cost change to increase siege damage and increase ammo. I do, again, like, Incendiary Archers are undervalued. They're actually stronger than people realize, but to use them, again, is more difficult than I make it out to be, but they hit hard. They're not weak. They're definitely among the stronger archers, but there's so many strong archers. Namcan archers, I have no idea what you're going to do with these guys. But increasing the field damage and increasing the health, definitely not going to do anything. They have one of the fastest fire rates among the tier 3 archers, but that gets cut in half when they start using the bleeding arrow. So, again, just another thing where it's just like, may just accept the reality that maybe get rid of that negative fire rate on the serrated arrows. I think at this point, Namcan archers just need something. The bleed arrow has been so painful, but the bleed arrow is not even that annoying anymore. You get hit by a couple of Namcan archers, so what? You get hit with a rattan marksman and you're full stack, and you're just like, well, I'm dead. And I'm not even joking. Like, even full stack Namcan archers, you got 10 stacks of that bleed, is about 2,000 damage. 5 stacks of that rattan marksman, just 2,000 damage. But in comparison to getting shot with Namcan archers, getting shot with a single rattan marksman will stack you. I'd have to actually get hit by the Namcan archers to get 10 stacks. I just need to get sneezed on by the rattan marksman in order to get full stacks. Prefecture guards, the node of decreased unit losses in the world and unit resupply cost change to increase slashing defense and blunt defense. So that's an interesting one, but it's just in the lower line, so it's not really much of a factor. Although it will affect one of my guys, since in the lower line you get a +2, but it was not how I thought it was going to be. Regardless, we also apparently finally added the ragdoll physics, although they don't have the picture. It's just a bunch of gifs where you have a winged Asar just ragdolling an entire expedition knights. Sad as it is, but the reality is that cavalry is just that powerful as well. One guy survives because none of the cavalry hit him, but the saddest part of watching that gift is how the cavalry doesn't even stop, doesn't even get slowed down. It literally just slams right into the expedition knights and stop because they reach their destination. Not because they got slowed down by like a whole heap of bodies. They could have ran over 5 expedition knights and they would have all died. And when I say expedition knights, I mean Samachian paladins. But yeah, um, it's kind of fun thinking about like getting the ragdoll system into Conqueror's Blade. It just makes things funnier, especially when you hit with very explosive abilities. Hit them with cannons, hit them with something like Thunderstruck. If you actually kill something and it just shoots to the moon, I think it's just really funny that way. Um, Unit interface UI adjustment. The unit's injury recovery interface has been moved to the unit detail page and can be found next to the equipment replenishment button. Uh, that's strange. I'm not sure. Gonna have to see where that ends up being. Bug fixes and improvement. Fix the issue where unusable items could be purchased from the smuggler NPC. After the maintenance, the item will be retrieved and all honor spent will be returned. Did not notice this. This is probably something I haven't noticed. Fix the issue of the effect of the bow shuriken of jewel blades. Probably a visual thing. Fix the issue of incorrect node displayed for the assault training of the assassins. Incorrect node display for the... never noticed that one. Assassins have been getting a lot of stealth changes, I think. There's something that's happening with the assassin. The +1 didn't work for a time. I'm not sure if it's even working now. I think the AI got messed up for a period of time, but I think it's fixed now. It's where they started. It's where they like jumped around in a really weird way. Instead of heading towards the location, they would flip away and then walk backwards towards the location, kind of like stuck in orientation. Fix the issue where the left supply point for the attacking side in Bailu, this is White Elk Fort, I believe, was not functioning properly. Oh, really? That left supply was not working, functioning properly. Or maybe, I mean, maybe a different map. Fix the issue where units could not be controlled after using the siege engine under certain circumstances. I don't remember that happening. I know that certain siege engines would be uncontrollable after certain conditions when you try to mount units on it. Fix the issue of abnormal display of the opening time for different regions. Okay. Fix the issue of UI offset after joining the Imperial Restorationists. That's the cohort. Fix the issue of some ground textures in Daishin. Not in Daishin, so yeah, there's that. Fix the issue of the payoff voucher occasionally not working. That is a big issue. The skill pages for character specialization has been optimized. Okay. Optimize closing pages on certain screens. You can now directly close them by pressing the X button on the top of the on the top right corner of the interface. The gift code redeem page is transferred to escape. The border fort preparation has been added to the combat arena. I think they mean siege list. So I haven't been able to play the game. I really want to see the border fort preparation, but again, I'll keep you updated with the news and stuff. Talking about the news and stuff, I haven't even actually taken a look at the other announcement that we did get. So I know this video is getting long and I've been ranting a lot, but um, so this is the Khan of Heaven. This is another server, and I think they're kind of going to go with a new server nearly every season. Looking at it, it does look like they're going to go something like that. Major modifications about the future of martial disposition. KH, new territory, war rules postponed. Embarking on a long journey of collaborative exploration since the release of the new rules of the Khan of Heaven, Poros, and Territory Wars. We received a plethora of suggestions and feedback from generals. Many generals even spontaneously rallied friends to create characters on the new server upon seeing the major rule changes, preparing to delve into new territory war tactics. However, through continued communication with generals, we come to realize that the new territory war is a long and arduous journey of exploration. On one hand, the new territory war rules should be planned and launched collaboratively by the development team and the generals. On the other hand, the new territory war rules represents a fundamental transformation of the existing Conqueror's Blade territory war gameplay, inevitably bringing numerous risk, pitfalls, and version instabilities. Yes, any changes to the rules means that players are going to try to exploit them. Any changes to the setup will obviously cause instability. They try to they're still trying to, I think, do war theater where you get to see everyone on the map, and I'm not even sure if that is even in the game or if that's even still a thing that's happening. Or maybe it's just been already rolled out and we haven't noticed it because there just haven't been that many people online to break the system. I know for a fact that one time when they rolled out the War Theater, I saw hundreds of players. There were so many players around just one feed, and it was amazing. Whether or not you could interact with everyone properly was another story. There was also issues with bandits, multiple bandits being there, but you couldn't interact with some of them. About half of them would be kind of like on a different layer, and interacting with them would just fizzle out. Some of them you could interact with, means that they were on your layer. But yeah, after careful consideration and through discussion, we've decided not to introduce the new territory war rules upon the launch of the new server. Again, like, people don't like the changes to a new server. Like, what? Just launch the rules, see how it goes, see how people react, and actually see what you want to create. Territorial war is not something that can simply just be like, oh, well, all of these rules are just ugh. Just figure out what you want territorial war to look like, what you want territorial war to feel like. Because at the current time, you got a certain idea that is running contrary to what players want. And again, that's always going to be true. It's always going to be contrary to what players want. Players don't know what they want, but they'll give you a lot of suggestions about what they want, but without really even realizing what they're asking for. And again, for me, Territory War is another game mode that is fizzling out because it just lacks the standard structure to allow drop in, drop out gameplay. It requires too much commitment from people and organizations who form parties or houses, alliances, and things, and this leads to a lot of stalemates where diplomacy is king. You want people to fight. Territory war is about fighting. Territory war is about people gaining benefits for fighting. You don't have that structure. You also have another structure where it's just like best unit beats all. How do you reconcile all of these different factors if you don't have an idea of how territorial wars is meant to be played out? Or how the players are supposed to engage in territorial war? Figure out what you want your players to do, figure out what you want the players to achieve, and figure out what you want the players to get rewarded with. Territorial war just is simply a bunch of players fighting over some benefits. It's literally that. However you figure that out and however you figure out the mechanics to it, it's just a means to an end. All of these structures just are failing because territorial war fails at providing the fundamental engagement from players. Everything always just ends up in a stalemate. Everyone's just getting free rewards because no one's fighting them for them. You want people to fight for them, but it's just too difficult. So you need an entry level and you need a winning level. The entry level needs to be lower than the winning level, but you want people to engage constantly. It was a good idea with the Empire coins, but the Empire coins are so stingy you would need to do 10 territorial war battles just to get anything. Anyway, we understand that this decision may disappoint some generals, but we believe it's necessary to ensure the quality and stability of the game. At the same time, we're providing corresponding compensation for players who have completed the character pre-creation on the new server. New server. Khan of Heaven Poros, a general who successfully pre-created characters on the new server will receive treaty times 10. Um, Again, this is a lot of constellation things. 10 battle 10 battle unit XP cards times 1, 10 battle hero XP card 1. Upon the server's opening, a new 14-day sign-in event will be introduced on the new server, offering various rare items such as treaties, payoff vouchers, rare hero schematics, epic artillery selection boxes, and unit metal. Again, they could probably offer over 100 of payoff vouchers, and you would see droves of players go to this new server. Like, there is no reason to be stingy about old content because old content is old content. You will always get your majority of your money from the new content coming down. And again, you need to speed this up as well. Not only does you need to have this 14-day sign-in event, just give them payoff vouchers. You need to give them like a tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and a tier 5. Uh, Even multiple, in fact, free tier like free of the free units. But again, you just eventually just always use tier 5, so I don't understand the tier systems and what they're used for at this rate. At this point, you just get rid of the tier system, and like people would still understand that their like units are piss weak, even at super high cost. You just always use the strongest unit. Generals who purchased the Dragon Rise Season Pass on the new server from March 28th after maintenance to April 11th, so about 2 weeks before maintenance, will receive an additional 680 sovereigns after the April 11th maintenance, making the Season Pass effectively free. In addition to the new server, generals who create characters and reach level 20 before the maintenance on March 27th on the official server will receive Ancient Battlefield Scroll times 10. What is Ancient Battlefield Scrolls? Is this a new thing? Is this something that I've forgotten? Someone explain to me. What the hell are these things? And also, again, like, they say effectively free, but it just means that you can probably get the battle pass for next season. So we believe that the new territorial rules should be developed and tested collaboratively by all generals and should be validated through a testing server before implementation. Therefore, we have decided to establish a dedicated testing server and invite all players to join and participate in the development of the new territory. Like, again, what's like you have a PTR. How is this not constantly a thing? You have thousands, I mean, at least hundreds of players willing to work for you for free, to work with you for free to develop your game, and you refuse to use this asset, to use these assets, because you can't be bothered listening to them, you can't be bothered implementing any of our suggestions, and you guys clearly have your own ideas, but you just refuse to understand that the players don't like your ideas. Your ideas are stupid. And I mean this quite sincerely. Like like whoever is doing your balancing or whoever's doing your gameplay management mechanics, don't listen to anyone about the paper scissors rocks. Paper scissors rock sucks. You know why paper scissors rock sucks? Because it only works in real-time strategy games that have base building involved. You don't have real-time strategy without ways to get more units. It just simply doesn't work to have a paper scissors rock system where you have one unit good against another and another unit against another, and it just becomes a loop. Not to mention, just fundamentally, every single unit is good at something. It has certain weaknesses, it has certain strength. But those dynamics are not fully exploited by every unit. Just to put it very bluntly, like a hard counter to range unit is a shield. Great. But that's not true to just simply say that all shield units just beat ranged units. Because frankly, like a lot of shield units just get shut up. You have nearly most of the sword and shield units barely being able to sustain the range fire right now, and if too much range shoot them, they just get exploded. So why is this dynamic really bad? Because shields require formations, direction. There's limitations to the shields. There's no limitation for the range, except for the fact that they are piss weak by design. And again, same scenario with pikemen. They have limitations, but cavalry are faster, stronger, hits harder, and the limitations for cavalry just doesn't seem to exist when you compare them to pike units. You can't instantly brace and turn around if cavalry comes up your ass. You can't instantly brace right on top of a cavalry and expect to win. You'll lose half your unit, probably kill the rest of the cavalry, but it's just simply can't work with hard counters in a game that just stresses so much on singular units being able to just win. And I mean just win. You're not feeding enough units into battle in order to create this dynamic where paper scissors rocks really kind of shines by attrition, by cost effectiveness, because battles just ends instantly. And maybe if battles were longer, you could get this working. I mean, people rotate several cavalries already. So, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just rambling. Maybe I no don't know what I'm talking about, but I just don't like the current setup. I'd hate this hard counter mentality. Everything should be soft, more dynamic, more meaningful when I think it should just there should be a level of engagement where people accept that they're going to take some losses, they're going to take some damage, and they're going to just have to deal with it because they can. And then somehow, some way, they're going to make up for that difference in a different way. But if you just can't, you just can't. If I can't beat cavalry up with an infantry unit and it's just literally impossible, it's just going to be literally impossible. And I mean that quite sincerely. I use a lot of non-anti-cavalry units and try to face off against cavalry. Lancelots do a really good job, but they still get trashed. I'm not catching the cavalry properly. I'm not getting the cavalry in a closed space. And I get it. They want cavalry to be powerful, but it just feels very useless when I use anything that's not anti-cavalry. And anytime I use anti-cavalry, I just get jumped by like a bunch of infantry, and then a cavalry still hits me. Ah, man, I'm still rambling. The testing server will last for more than 2 weeks. Generals can participate without pay or grind elements. They can directly engage in siege and field battles, practice military strategies, and provide feedback on the new rules, including season reset settings and family rules adjustment. Invitations to participate in this testing will be sent out selectively. Additionally, as a token of gratitude for their support for the new server, all generals who participate in the character pre-creation on the Khan server will receive priority invitations. Future of the Conqueror's Blade preparatory servers and official servers. Starting from the EX server, this is Excalibur, released last season, we have validated our design considerations for the novice servers through the New World and Family rules, and this is kind of what I've been gauging. Excalibur seems to have had a very high retention rate, probably because a lot of people are still experimenting, still in the lower levels. There's probably a couple of guys that are just pushing it with kind of meta builds, but that's kind of normal. But the vast majority of people are still probably having fun. Excalibur, Excalibur probably should still have its own exclusive queue. I don't believe that they should be mixing with the international servers just yet. I mean, the other servers just yet, but I'm not entirely sure what's happening. People are saying that they're getting Excalibur players in their games, so I wish those Excalibur people luck because it is going to be very brutal to face up against some of these guys. And I know some guys out there that they've got setups that are absolutely crazy, like full on tier 5 setups for like some of the strongest units. And even I'm very close. I mean, I'm pretty sure I have enough to just set up a unit that would just completely wipe the floor with you without me even trying. Because the doctrines are just that powerful sometimes, especially the toughness doctrine. Toughness doctrine 5, slap it on any of the Chinese units and you are twice as strong. It's basically a free heavy armor. It's basically a free very heavy armor trait. Um oh sorry. Next, building upon the foundations of the official server, we have introduced the concept of preparatory servers. Preparatory servers are divided into growth servers and novice servers. In the future, we will consistently open novice servers at the beginning of each season. Yeah, thought so. I think I did read that earlier. So the official servers are the international servers. So these international servers just are the existing servers. So the 5 existing servers being Jade Rock Creek, Lotus Ash Sea. I like how they didn't put Lotus Ash Sea first since that's Asia 1, but it goes Lotus Ash Sea, Dragon Rise Island, then Jade Rock Creek, then Sandstone Gorge for um, MENA, which is Middle East and Northern Africa, and the Espada Forest, which is South America. again, South America is seeing a very, very low population count and almost a dismal player count in terms of siege battles, from what I've heard. Um, so the growth server right now is Excalibur. So that been moved up to growth server. So people, so it was a novice server last time because it was a fresh server. Now it's a growth server, and the new novice server is going to be Khan of Heaven. Hasn't technically been released; it's been moved back. So it'll be kind of like a two-season preparation. So the novice server serves as a novice village where new generals uh, will receive two preparatory seasons. New generals can grow without pressure in the novice server, familiarize themselves with the features of Conqueror's Blade and the game environment, and amidst the tumult, 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 grow into formidable warlords. During the first preparatory season, the novice server will not open rankings. Besides event gameplay, novice servers and growth server matchmaking will be interconnected. So that's really interesting. So Excalibur and Khan of Heaven will have players interact with each other. But once probably Excalibur moves into its third season, it will be shoved in with the rest of the servers, and that means the Excalibur people got a bunch of freebies to beat up on. So the Khan of Heavens better get ready because Excalibur people is going to beat you up for a season, and then Khan people are going to beat up the new people for a new season, and then again get thrown into the big pond where everyone just has everything. um, After the first preparatory season ends, another server will advance to become the growth server. Users in the growth servers can freely choose to match with the official server or continue battling against novice server players. So I kind of don't like this, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense. Excalibur people are going to be able to match up against the rest of the servers or just their own preparatory servers. So I don't think Excalibur people will choose to go up against the internationals. It just seems illogical to. And I mean, getting all of your shit done as fast as you possibly can. Again, there's so many challenges, and when you're beating up on newbies, it's kind of the easiest way to get challenges done. So, I do think that having the choice, is important, but I don't think it's going to change anything. There's going to be very few freaks that would ever try to beat up international guys, unless there's a very low player counts in the preparatory servers. So yeah, there's always a lot of factors with that. For example, currently the Excalibur server has officially completed its first season and has become a growth server. In the future, we will undergo a period of feature development, allowing generals on the Excalibur server to freely choose their matchmaking preferences. For example, they can continue matchmaking with the novice server players or challenge players on the official server. Following the end of the second preparatory season, the growth server will officially enter or merge into the official servers system. Now, this is a very interesting thing. A server merge would be incredibly important when it comes to territorial war things. So, less servers means less land, and this is very important. And some people have been asking for this is to merge the three Asia servers into one. Get people who want to play territory wars onto the same map. More people in territory wars means more fights, means for less land for more people. It is important to get enough people to fight for land and have people actually engage in the territorial war system. Unfortunately, people don't like fighting and people like getting rewards for free. So, I don't know. Anyway, um, the possibility of a merge could also come with official servers, and I really hope they do consider merging all of the official servers together, at least the Asia ones, and that should fix a lot of the territorial war issues that we have currently as of date. But it also could also kill a lot of organizations. But I think more competition is better, regardless of the fallout. That being said, I'm not sure how much they actually earn from like server transfers, but realistically, I really wish that they just get rid of the server transfer cost. Finally, wish generals always have Wish generals always have new challenges and comrades worth fighting alongside. Of course, for the official server that are currently operating, we will also integrate the new territorial war rules and operational experience from the novice service to introduce even bolder optimization adjustment in the upcoming season. Through the optimization of server architecture, we aim to ensure that generals always have new challenges and comrades worth fighting alongside. Fight, grow, and strategize to your heart content. Again, it's great that they're trying to consider the new player experience, and it's really great that this has come along. This has gone a long way from speeding up the new players to just giving them their own environment. I'm pretty sure that this should have happened a long time ago. This probably was something that needed, but again, the feasibility of something like this was always just very skeptical. We're not sure how many new players there really are, and if they can sustain it, great, amazing, absolutely positive. There's no downsides to having a new server with enough people that can actually play constantly. Even if it's just 200, 300, maybe 500 people just in that new server. And I mean, like, sincerely, that, like, in a single season, the reason why they needed new servers is because they went way over capacity. I think Asia Nova, the original name for Dragon Rise Island, was opening because they grew from like 3-ish thousand people to 8,000 people in a season. That's how many new players were coming in, and they needed a new server, and it was delayed for a little bit, but I do hope that they see the writing on the wall, that people want to be together, people want to fight together. So more people is always good, but the kinds of people that you mix in with need to be like-minded or need to be at similar stages. Obviously, if you're in the official servers, in the current official servers, you have been playing for at least a couple of seasons. If you're new and you're on the official server and you missed out on the Excalibur, that's bad for you. But at the very least, getting these new players 2 whole seasons to kind of get used to the game. And I'm really sure that a lot of people will be decked out in Tier 5 by the first season is guaranteed. I do think Excalibur guys don't need 2 seasons, but since they have the option to go against the big guys, give all hell breaks loose if they yeah, all hell breaks loose if they actually go. But if they stay and beat up on the newbies, we could see a dynamic where they we could see a dynamic where the older servers are still suppressing the newer servers. So we gotta make sure that the matchmaking is very on point in these newer servers to try to weed out these tryhards, these absolute, I don't know, dredge of toxic players who only metagames like crazy. They need to be thrown into the bigger pond. They need to be thrown into the harder challenge. And I mean, like, I'm not a very good gamer, and I don't like a challenge. I just want to have fun. But there are people out there that only has fun by beating up on weaklings, and I know everyone kind of gets that. But I hope people enjoy this game. This is a really good way to introduce people or just kind of solve your new player experience. New player experience will be much better this way, and it will be 100 times, 100 times less painful. The grind wall will seem almost a cakewalk in comparison to trying to do official server stuff. But anyway, that's all for this week's announcements. Again, very interesting for Veterany Knows being changes. I do hope that they do another lot, and I hope to God, uh, I just really hope that they do a veterancy rework for a couple of units. Veterancies are really important. Veterancy, there's a lot of useless veterancies. There's a lot of useless There's a lot of useless nodes that do nothing, and again, like ending nodes, not very powerful. There are some ending nodes that are super powerful, and there are some nodes that are just downright incredibly powerful. Any plus ones, and I mean any plus ones, are virtually multipliers, basically multipliers. That's how powerful they are. I mean, the Berserker plus one, who would go bottom line for an extra 50% damage when you literally get a plus one that increases your damage by 100%? Like, why? It is just illogical to me that, like, they have these nodes and don't understand the that power dynamic that these nodes have. And again, I mean, there's a small argument for Yan Yudao's bottom line, but I don't know. That 6 extra target limit? Insanity! Not to mention the 65% ignores damage reduction BS at the end of the top line. But I mean, like, I totally understand, like, double damage. Imagine if you just get lucky and that 25% just goes absolutely crazy and it just hits everyone. Just hits everyone. 6 people just instantly die. Yeah. But regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit of a long video. I do rant a lot, and I do think I will be. I think I will be retiring from Conqueror's Blade at the end of this season. So we'll see what happens. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do love talking, and I do hope I can keep. I do hope that anyone that's still playing Conqueror's Blade or have started to play Conqueror's Blade will continue to enjoy it for a long time. It is still a very fun game, and I still wish it the best, but it could be so much better. It could be so much better. It's got a really cool concept. It's got a really good flow in terms of gameplay, impact, and all a bunch of other things. It's a very amazing game that just doesn't work, but it's just very fun for me particularly because it's got that nice action um, action dynamic. It's got that good strategy dynamic because you got to understand yourself, your units, a lot of things, and you got to multitask a lot. You got to think about things. You got to think, and it's very strategic minded. There are people who are very gun ho. Sometimes I'm very gun ho. I just want to just get in there, fight, 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 fight. But sometimes you got to think about the wider battlefield, where your friends are, where your enemies are, where you can be the most painful. But there. I think that is all. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. But other than that, my name's Sasuke. Have a nice day. Bye for now.